What's up, family? Welcome to CreelTalk, a place where two people living out loud share insights, failures, small wins, and everything in between. Listen, no fancy studio, no professional sound bites, no AI perfected scripts. It's just us growing. Whether you're going through breakthroughs or breakdowns at the same time as we are, pop in those earbuds and let's grow together. Believe. Have you ever had something to eat that was so good that you had to have more? The very taste of it redefined how you would describe the term taste good? I remember, guys, when my wife made soya for the first time, and my goodness, did it change everything. Soya might be as strong of a reason of why I married her as all the other things. For real, it is that good. And for you guys who don't know, soya, it's actually an African seasoning that you put on grilled meat. And from what I hear, the version I had wasn't even the best version. Though you get the best soya on in the street markets in Africa. My gosh. And I had it and I'll need it more. It got to the point, even later on in our marriage, when she'd be like, "Oh, what do you want for dinner?" I would say, "Ah, I guess we can do some soya." She'd be like, "You always ask for soya." I know. You ask, "What do I want?" I want soya because it's that good. There's even times where I just have her make it so it's just around the house and I can grab it and eat it whenever because it is amazing. And that is an example of something that we all experience, which I term the Crave consumption cycle. You see, when you have something that you like so much, it always starts somewhere. And this Crave consumption cycle, it's actually scientific. I'll let you know there's 5 steps to the Crave consumption cycle. The first step is simply exposure. It's having something introduced to you. Like my wife introduced soy, like, "Hey, I'm going to make that for you tonight." And it's like, "Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing what this thing is." And then she made it. And the second step of the process is consumption, feeding on that something. That leads to either acceptance or rejection. If it satisfies a need or a desire, it gives you a dopamine hit and it makes you feel good. It releases the signaling in the brain to say that I enjoyed the experience of consuming that thing. The third step that happens now psychologically in our brain, there's a satisfaction, but not quite a resolution. The moment itself, while chomping down on that soya, that moment felt complete, but then it fades. It becomes memory. And what's left is something called residual emotional noise, which simply put is just it's the thought of the thing that starts to make us feel excitement. It's a false stimulation because we can almost imagine it. It's like if you close your eyes with me and you imagine this steaming grilled meat with some of the most tastiest spices that has ever graced the taste bud hopping off in your mouth as you chew and swallow this meat. And it's like that sensation right there. It's a great feeling, but I'm not actually eating the soya. So it's a false stimulation. There's emptiness. Now what? You know what? I want some soya. I know what we're having for dinner tomorrow, right? There's a satisfaction in the moment, but now there's no resolution. And I'm going to go get me some more soya. And what happens then is step number 4 is familiarity. The brain starts to anticipate the consumption the more you consume it. It's like, I eat it, I want more. I eat it, I want more. I eat it. And that familiarity, that connection between stimulus and reward is where we develop then a preference that turns into a dependence. We call that dependence then step number 5, a craving. You start to intentionally seek to consume the thing. It starts consciously then growing until it eventually becomes an unconscious desire, drive for us to have it. And we find ourselves moving in the direction of figuring out how to get it without even knowing we're doing that because that craving is so strong. Eventually, the need for it makes it so you start to have negative physical reactions if you don't get it and for a certain period of time. Then you get it and the cycle restarts. Why? Why does that happen? Well, it's because, simply put, you crave what you consume. You crave what you consume. That's how our body creates that stimulus and that emotional response so that we want to consume more. And whether you consume something that is good for you or bad for you, this cycle still works. The more you consume something, the more you crave it. As a matter of fact, I've found in my experience, it's easier to get hooked on things that are bad for us, like high sugary foods and high fatty foods and high salty things. It's easier to get hooked on those things that isn't exactly the pillar for our health that we would want to be consuming regularly, because those things have stronger addictive properties than what's actually good for us. What's crazy is this cycle, guys, that craving consumption cycle, it works the same for food we feed our body as well as information we feed our mind. Not only physically, but also mentally, we crave what we consume. Follow me here. What happens is, let's think about something normal. You scroll social media. You see, first you're introduced to social media and the idea of being able to scroll it. And then you start to scroll and consume the information that you're receiving from social media, little miniature dopamine hits, right? And you consume that. And then there's a satisfaction, but it's fleeting, it's not complete. And you go do something else. And now you have this unconscious desire to go check social media again, to go scroll some more, because of the little mini dopamine hits, and you start to have an anticipation to eventually it comes to a point where it's unconscious. Like you find yourself scrolling when you didn't actually expect to be scrolling. It's just, hey, I had some dead time in the calendar. Let's go check this social media platform, until eventually you don't even know that you're checking this social media platform. You start doom scrolling is what we call it, because you don't even know what you're looking for. But unconsciously, your brain knows what it's looking for. It's looking for that dopamine hit again. And that craving becomes so strong for some people that even when you're doing something important, you find yourself scrolling on your phone in the middle of important conversations. You find yourself scrolling on your phone in the middle of an important meeting. You find yourself scrolling on your phone in the middle of a good workout. You find yourself scrolling on your phone. The reason that is because the craving consumption cycle has made it so that you've consumed scrolling. Now you crave scrolling. You see, you crave what you consume. Why is this important? Remember, we become what we think about. Just like when I was growing up, I ate so much fried chicken because my mom's fried chicken is the best in the world. And I ate so much of it that my mom used to say, that boy gonna turn into a chicken. Right? Like it's like a saying in our community, right? You become what you eat. But obviously, I wasn't going to turn into a chicken, but I craved her fried chicken. Anytime she would ask, just like my wife today, right? Soya. Back then, fried chicken. What do you want me to make for dinner? I don't know. Chicken. You always ask for chicken. I always want chicken. That's what I crave. Your fried chicken is bomb. That's what I want. Why? Because of the crave consumption cycle. The more I ate it, the more I craved it. That's true for food in our stomach as much as it is information in our mind. And why is this important? It's because if we become what we think about and we start putting in information, what happens is we start craving what we consume. What if we're consuming not so positive things? Here's the thing, because when I say not so positive, a lot of times people think, well, all I'm doing is watching a game, all I'm doing is playing a game, all I'm doing is just killing time. Well, I believe that there is no middle ground to consumption. It's either good for you or it's bad for you. There's times when entertainment is good for you because it allows you to decompress, but it can be bad for you if it becomes non-productive and it takes up all of your time. Most content that the world puts out is meant to distract us or lull us into average. I'll say that again. Most content that the world puts out, it's meant to distract us from what's important and lull us to sleep till eventually we're just average. That's what most content in the world is meant to do. It's all just a distraction. So what I found is that if you don't consciously consume what you know is good for you, it's the same thing with food. How many of us struggle with having a good diet? Why? Because it's easier to eat the sugary, salty, fatty foods because they have a high addictive nature than it is to prepare and eat good, healthy meals that will help us have healthy bodies. It's the same thing with the information in our brain. When we feed our brain entertainment and high dopamine based content, negative stuff, bad news, gossip, garbage, right? That stuff is easier to crave because it has a high addictive nature. It's like sugar for the brain. In very small doses, it's good for you because we all need a little bit of sugar. But in high doses, it's terrible for you. And eventually it'll rot your brain, kind of like sugar will rot your teeth. What do you have to do? You have to be intentional about what you consume. We crave what we consume, not what we necessarily desire or want. So here's the solution: control your consumption. That's the solution. Make a plan, be intentional about it. Just like you meal prep, you should information prep. You should know. You should not. Here's one of the worst habits that we all have: it's the doom scrolling, because now we're not controlling what we're consuming. We're just allowing ourselves to consume whatever pops up in our feed. And what if it's not positive? What if it's neutral or negative? Now we're consuming, because most of the time that's what it's going to be. We're consuming neutral or negative, and now our brain's getting that sugar, which is going to slowly rot it. It's going to distract us. It's going to lull us. It's going to lead us to average, till eventually over time, we just find ourselves drifting. This is the worst part about it. See, because you see, when you have a bad diet because you've consumed a lot of not so good for you food, what happens? Your energy levels decrease. You gain some unnecessary weight. You start to have a hard time having motivation, and your get up and go isn't as get up and go-ish. And it affects every aspect of your life. It's the same thing when we consume unhealthy things for our brain, because we become sluggish. We have less motivation. We have less excitement because we've had so many dopamine hits. It's hard to get excited over certain things anymore, which is what gets us the ability to get up and go, like that extra kick. And you start drifting, which is the worst place to be. If you've listened to us earlier, you know what I call drifting. It's the walking dead. It's like you've died. It's just your body hasn't caught up to your mental and spiritual death yet. That's the long-term effects of consuming negative, unnecessary, high sugary information. And so here's my recommendation. Here's my personal recommendation. Consume good stuff. Put good stuff in. Find great books to read. Find great podcasts to listen to. Find great people to get around and events to go to. Learn things that will make you productive. Learn things that will add to what you're looking at accomplishing. Be intentional about what you consume. When I was back in the day, when I played college football, I was very intentional about my consumption, because what I consumed allowed me to perform better at what I did. See, everything has a purpose. Control what you consume. I remember teaching some clients when I was a personal trainer that if you don't control what you consume, what eventually happens is what you consume will be controlled for you. And you won't have a say-so in the matter anymore. So my recommendation, once again, friends, is understand the craving consumption cycle. No, we crave what we consume. Control your consumption so that you can continue to grow into the healthiest version of you, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Someone capable of living your dreams. Believe.